And now molecular compounds are a little different than ionic compounds because they're going to share electrons, and so there's no real distinct positive or negative charge. And so there's no loss or gain of electrons. It's just a sharing. So we're going to name these a little bit different to distinguish the fact that they're molecular rather than ionic compounds. To do that, we're going to use Greek prefixes. There's a whole list, 1 through 10. I'll just write them down. We have mono for 1, di for 2, tri is 3, tetra is 4, penta is 5, hexa is 6, hepta is 7, octa is 8, nona is 9, and deca is 10. So as you look at those, I would guess that a lot of those prefixes are similar or familiar to you. Tri for 3, penta for 5, octa for 6. Some of those things they're pretty common already, and so just a little practice and memorizing will help to know these different Greek prefixes. And so what we're going to do, we're going to signify in a formula the number of atoms based on these prefixes. And so we'll go ahead and practice some of that. If we have the formula N2O, we have 2 nitrogens and 1 oxygen. What we'll do is signify the 2 with our 2 prefix, dinitrogen, and then we'll actually name the second nonmetal the same way that we've named the nonmetals in type 1 and type 2 ionic compounds. And so this will be oxide. So altogether we have dinitrogen oxide. Another example would be if we had SF6. Now it's important to realize even though there's only 1 sulfur, we won't use the prefix mono. Usually, well, almost always, the first nonmetal in a molecular compound, if there's only 1, we won't use mono. But if there's only 1 of the second in the formula, we will use mono. Just one of those silly little rules. But here we have sulfur, and 6 here is hexa. So it'll be sulfur, hexa, and then we have fluorine, so fluoride is what we'll name it. So sulfur hexafluoride. And notice that this first element in the compound, if there's only 1, we'll name it just based on its regular name. It won't change at all unless there's more than 1, and then we'll use the prefix. So this becomes an important concept as well, because you can not only name compounds based with these prefixes, you can also write formulas based on the names that you're given. For example, if you had dioxygen, difluoride, you could say, oh, we have oxygen and fluorine, and well, fluoride, and di. So there's going to be 2 of each. So O2 and F2. Dioxygen difluoride. That's what that compound will look like. And just one more to practice. If we saw something like this, carbon dioxide, you'd be able to say, oh, carbon, just 1, and oxygen, 2. CO2, that's something that we're all pretty familiar with, even outside of chemistry. And so you've been exposed to this type of naming, even if you haven't realized it. But again, with some practice, it's easy to get a handle on the different prefixes and naming molecular compounds.